Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another Mortgage Coach Tuesday call. We've been doing these Tuesday calls every morning at 9 o'clock for over 7 years. We have done over 400 interviews like the one we're doing today. I'd say 60% of the time I'm trying to bring in a top loan officer. 30 to 40% of the time I'm bringing in an author, a speaker, someone to inspire everybody to be more successful. Today we're bringing in the nation's #1 realtor, Ken DeLeon. This will be my third interview with Ken, so I think I've got a good feel for Ken. I've also seen him speak a number of times, and I think it's going to be a fantastic call. I want to remind everybody that we did an interview with Simon a few weeks ago, Simon Sinek. This is a fantastic call. Make sure everybody listens to it. So for those of you that are new to the Mortgage Coach and you are guests to this call, I want to make sure everybody's really clear about what we do and how we do it. Whether you're a realtor or a mortgage professional, we're all about creating mobile experiences for lenders just to help them deliver the best possible home buying experience to a family as they get the mortgage. I think it's always important, and when we interview Ken here, we're going to talk about what is Ken's why. But our why at Mortgage Coach, we just believe that the American dream isn't just owning a home, it's owning it debt-free. That means you need to get the most efficient financing possible. That means that when you get into debt, mortgage debt, you need to compare your options. You need to do it graphically. You need to look at the total cost over time. At Mortgage Coach, we're fired up about some of the CFPB changes, especially the fact that every family is now going to know what's the cost of different loan options over 5 years. We think that's just good business. And we think every time you get into debt, you should look at what are some of the strategies to pay it off faster. Or what are some strategies to pay off your PMI faster, strategies to build up enough equity to buy your move-up home. So if you're a realtor on this call, it's a great way to use a Mortgage Coach is that not only are they going to provide you with a rate quote, purchase power options, but they're going to show ideas and strategies to pay off the mortgage faster and position the family to invest in a bigger home. They're also going to do that from their mobile devices. So hopefully everybody on this call has downloaded the Mortgage Coach mobile app. Do want to announce that we have upgraded and improved our open house experience. So now when delivering mortgage options from a loan officer to a realtor, it's a link. It's a beautiful mobile app or mobile experience. So let's see if Ken has been able to join us. Hey, Ken, are you there?
Yeah, here perfectly.
All right, man. So I don't know how much you heard about the framing of the call. I did a little bit on Mortgage Coach, which you know well, just talking about how every time someone gets into debt, they need to make sure that they are looking at the cost over time, and they're always looking for strategies to reduce their debt, whether it's to own their home free and clear or from a realtor standpoint, build up enough equity to buy buy more lifestyle. So I know one of the questions we're going to want to talk about is just how the leadership you're providing to families around investing in real estate. That is something that you advocate, and I think you do quite a bit personally. Is that right?
Oh, yeah, definitely, and a lot of, different model to it as well, which I can get into.
Oh, good. Well, I'm looking forward to that. By the way, I didn't get a chance to ask you, but, I had recently interviewed Simon Sinek about a week or two ago. Are you familiar with his work? Have you read his book or been through the TED Talk?
Just saw a little bit about the TED Talk is all, so I'm not sure if I'd, but I liked what he had. But I'm not like an expert on it, but it looked quite good.
Okay. I think really my goal with that is when we go through and we unpack your story as a real estate professional, really want to dig down into your why, because so often
perfect.
People are not just doing business for you because of what you do. They're doing business, why you do it. I think a good tee up. One of Simon's quote from the interview we did last week was, "We don't learn much when everything goes right. We learn the most when everything goes wrong." And
ooh, nice.
I think right. And
yeah, that's so
the story
me.
That's so you. So why don't we tee everything up with tell everybody a little bit about your backstory, and
Perfect.
then we'll get into some tactics around real estate.
Nice, I'm in. Thank you. Sorry for the delay.
Not a problem at all. So tell us a little bit about your backstory.
Hello, everybody. So my background before entering real estate is quite distinct, and I think that's led to my success in being #1. So probably what's driven me is I've had 3 life tragedies Each one of them I learned a lot. More importantly, kind of gave me the courage to live the life I want and to kind of almost kind of create a new business model or a different way of looking at things that I think is very beneficial for the clients. So just kind of to quickly give everyone some of my background. Originally, my academics, mathematics and economics was my undergrad. I thought I was going to go to a PhD program in economics. Got into the top program within that PhD, but ended up choosing law school instead. Went to law school at Berkeley, and then from there graduated with honors, went on to work at Silicon Valley's largest law firm doing patent and trademark law, but kind of always wanted to do more, and I always had a passion. I think life is short. You need to live and do what you want to do. So I actually then had the courage to leave law to enter real estate. And within the first 9 years of real estate, I kept on, each year was my best year. And some of the key moments, 2009, when the world was kind of, the economy's imploding, people are risk averse. At that point, I was kind of a mid-level producer, 52 million, pretty high, but I knew I could do more. In 2009, I saw all the top agents cutting their marketing budgets by 2/3, really getting conservative and cautious. And I said, this is the time for me to kind of double down. So I actually doubled my marketing budget, thinking that this area would improve, Silicon Valley would get out of this recession, within a few years. And that's when things really started taking off. So I think having the confidence to, when others are scared, that's the time when you need to step up in life and really make a difference. So that started really doing well. I more than doubled my production from 56 million to 119 million. And then from there, all the systems I had in place, kind of knowledge-based systems to kind of bring buyers in, really started clicking well. And then the year after that, in 2011, I sold 275 million, and then ended up in my 9th year in the business being the #1 agent per Wall Street Journal rankings in the country. And from there, though, once you kind of master the game, then you want to change it. So I kind of became #1 by doing, to a degree, what others were doing, but just doing it better, more intensely, more forethought. But then I've actually now started my own company. And at my own company, it's really a bit of a distinct business model where we're really more akin to a Silicon Valley startup. I've improved the model a bit, and I'm happy to get to that later on. But while at the company, I regressed a little bit. Anytime you want to start something new, you can't be afraid of those challenges and can't be afraid to step back. So my production actually dropped from 275 million to a little bit over 200 million. And I dropped from #1 to #18 in the country. So disappointing in the sense of the short term, but I always had a long-term vision, a long-term goal in mind. And never mind stepping back, because sometimes to launch yourself forward, you need to step back a bit to gain the speed to sprint. But then from that over 200 million, I've had 2 successive years of over 65% growth, where we went from 200 million to right around 340 million, rose from #18 to now I'm in the team category to #5, and then from that 330 jumped to nearly 340 million, jumped to 558 million, and became the #1 team in America. And I'm proud of that designation. What I'm more proud of is the unique way that I got there, and I'm more than happy to share that with the audience. But I think the key is don't let the reward, don't let it be a monetary reward. Be kind of a reward of leaving a legacy or a philosophy of improving your business and those of your customers and clients. And if you have that mindset, you're going to succeed. But I think what allowed me the courage to be different was some of the intense tragedies I've had in my life, and then the kind of the change in my mindset that gave. So I'd be happy to talk about those 3 tragedies as well, if you want to, Dave.
I think it's important, and I don't know if this will come out and how you answer it, but I think we're going to get into what you're doing and how it's different from a very tactical perspective. But why? Why do you have to be #1? So I mean, let's tell the story. But before we get into the what you do, I want to make sure it really comes out. Why are you so driven to be this #1 realtor in America? So stories.
Perfect. And I really think that's the best for everyone listening to the call. And again, thank you for the time of listening to, because all we are is our time. But I think the key, if you can have a really strong why, then you're going to succeed, because the what and the how you do it, you can figure that out. It's the drive and the motivation that is oftentimes the missing link, that if people don't have that first spark, nothing else can occur. And for me, my drive is to leave a legacy where I've left this world a better place. And I think a lot of people in life fear so much. They fear failure. They fear death. They have irrational fears of being eaten by a shark. The true fear in life is this. The true fear in life is never living. The true fear in life is that don't fear death, but fear mediocrity, where there's over 7.2 billion people in this world. And the key is to be distinctly yourself, and then you can really leave a legacy. And to quickly go through, I've had 3 life tragedies. I'm just going to quickly touch upon them to not have that be the focus, but a little bit of the why. Probably the most intense life tragedy, just to go in chronological order, when I was 15, my one sibling was my sister, an amazing woman, smarter than I was, more athletic than I was. But the one thing she didn't have was love of self, self-confidence. And she had an all-consuming relationship as a teenager with her long-term boyfriend and lost her friends through that. And in the end, when he broke up with her, it was too much for her, and she ended up taking her life. And I was the one who found her. And part of the way that I recovered through it all was I said, I'm going to take her inside myself. I'm the stronger vessel. And first I tried to learn from this, and I said, if she has same parents, same upbringing, everything's the same, but I have a love of life, and she had a fatal flaw. And the difference was self-confidence. So I took that small sliver of difference, and I simply amplified it. And I said that I'm going to become great because I know I'm great. Dave, you're great because you know you're great. You don't need third parties. You don't need other people to tell you that, because no one will fully ever understand you. But also when she was gone, I internally, not only did I take her inside myself, I kind of doubled the expectations of what I wanted to achieve in life, and that I was going to live so that if I could kind of give something, if I can make myself great, then I can make her death, which was meaningless. I could give meaning to it. And then that was one of the big drivers, and it took me many years to get there. But through this, I learned many great kind of secrets of life. And one of the great secrets I learned is the irony that the less you care what people think about you, the more they care to be around you. Because everybody in life wants to be free. And if you're free, if you let the concern of others or how others are going to judge you, if you let that go and you're your true best self, people are simply drawn to being around you, and energy is contagious, and freedom is contagious, and you can give that gift to others. And I just realized that I want to live this life with a life that I'm happy with, and also a life of purpose. So from there, my grades really started picking up. I became just amazingly focused. And then right after I graduated from law school, passed the California bar, I was going to start at my law firm, but I also got involved in an accident that nearly took and forever changed my life. And the quick summary of that accident would be, I was walking with my father back in Florida from Berkeley on a vacation before starting my law firm, walking with my father on the sidewalk. A car going about 45 miles per hour veered off the road onto the sidewalk, slammed into me, destroyed my fibia and tibia, and then launched me in the air. I smashed through the windshield. My father barely grazed, thankfully. But while I'm inside the car, the driver, who's on pretty crazy drugs, horse tranquilizers is what they found him on, as well as ecstasy, marijuana, and speed, he started beating me while I was inside the car because I'm vividly conscious. My shoulder took the blow. I have a rod in my arm from that. But I pled with him for my life for 3 miles. Stop the car, I'm hurt, what are you doing? And then he started screaming at me, get out, because in his drug paranoid mind, I was a demon from the sky attacking him, which was why it was hitting me. So I'm in the car for 3 miles, running red lights, pleading for my life the whole time. He finally lets me out. He's later caught. But the conclusion of it all is that kind of further helped accelerate my evolution. And what I say to the audience is this: you cannot control life events. What happens to you, the loss of someone you love, terrible, tragic car accidents. But these events, they're neither inherently good nor evil. They're open to our interpretation because we control our reaction to those events. And if you can be an alchemist and turn a seemingly negative event into a golden opportunity for growth, then the world is open to you. And from this tragedy, I learned a lot of epiphanies. And before the tragedy, including changing my purpose of life, because before the tragedy, my goal in life was happiness. I want to become happy, and help those around me become happy. But then what I realized is there in the hospital bed, I'm having all these epiphanies and great thoughts about what is important to me in life, how do I want to live my life. And I realized there's a lot of value to sadness and tragedy. So I actually reframed my purpose in life. And now my purpose in life is growth, evolution, actualization of self. And the goal is I want to psychologically actualize myself, become my true greatest self, free of fear, free of others caring about me. And through that, I embrace the full spectrum of emotions, because now that my goal is growth and actualization, I see the full spectrum of emotions, and not just happiness, but also the value of sadness and tragedies, which I now use as a springboard to greater insight and wisdom. And I had one other test where about 9 years after the accident, I started feeling some pain in my lower back. And I went to a doctor thinking I had back issues. I'm tall, I'm picking up the kids all the time. Didn't think it was a big deal. But then the doctor took an MRI, ended up having a tumor the size of a softball. And that was quite shocking. Of course, I thought of my children I was holding with that morning, my unborn son on the way. But what I realized is, took me about an hour, but through my tears I realized there's only two outcomes to this cancer. There's either survival or death. And I realized that no matter the outcome, happiness and focus is going to be, and confidence in myself is going to optimize the outcome. Because I thought of survival. I believe in the mind-body connection. The more you think internally in your mind that you're going to survive, the higher the probability is that you will. That being said, a lot of great people succumb and die to cancer. And if I'm one of them, the doctor said I might only have 6 months left to live. If that were the case, all the more reason to be focused, to not waste a moment crying about why me. Instead, to really accelerate my life goals, my visions, and what I want to achieve, because if I have 6 months, it's going to accelerate my mindset and my process. And I really use that in a positive sense. And surprisingly, this might sound very odd to people, but my production actually really skyrocketed. So the cancer occurred when I was quite young in real estate, only between my end of my third year, started my fourth year. In my third year, I did $26 million in real estate, which at the time to me I was proud of, but I always knew there was room for improvement. But I had a 3-month period where I was going through 6 rounds of chemotherapy, as well as daily irradiation in the end. But during that 3-month period, while battling cancer, while having no hair because it fell out with the chemo, I sold over $32 million, which was more than the entire year last year. And it might seem shocking to people that while you're battling cancer, you can in 1 quarter do more than you did in the entire year before. But the cancer actually brought about a focus in my life that actually helped my business. And one of the things it did for me was realizing how valuable time is, because with my limited time, I either wanted to spend time with my family to say goodbye if I was going, or I wanted to provide for my family and sell as many homes as I could to financially leave them in a good place should I die. And what I did is I said, everyone has our A clients, our B clients, and then our C-level clients. I just fired all my C-level clients. I go, my time at this point is too valuable to be hanging around with people who think the market's too overpriced, think the market's going to decline, don't value my services, ask about any sort of commission rebate. Anyone who doesn't fully appreciate me or not focused and motivated buyers, I just fire them all. And the irony is, by getting rid of those C-level clients, it allowed me to spend more time on my A and B level clients and get so many of those sales that I otherwise would not have gotten. And one of the many lessons I had from this tragedy was the power of saying no, where, as an example, at our firm, we probably turned down about 1/3 of the listings we could have, which in our area, which is a complete seller's market, is very surprising to people. But the value and the strength of no is that you need to only take the clients who really appreciate you and value you, fit within your business model, and it's a good fit for. And it's a bit of a leap of faith, because in our industry, both mortgage and real estate, we're taught to say yes, just, whatever, the client comes first. But the key is the right client comes first. But if you have somebody who haggling with you on, fees, kind of shopping around, in the end, that's not the client you want to work with. So you have to know to say no and try and, as best possible, predict who that bad client's going to be, and just make a choice and not even work with them. And I've kind of taken that mindset of how valuable our time is in the mortgage and real estate industry, all we are is our time. How valuable our time is, and therefore really selectively spend it with the best and greatest people possible. And that's allowed me, I think, to have this astounding sales, 65% growth 2 years in a row off big numbers. But a lot of it is just we're working with the right client base. We're working with clients who appreciate us and who see the value. But these three tragedies and kind of the lessons it gave me really are my why. They're my driver, where when you come so close to death, you gain a heightened awareness of life and what's important. And for me, what's important is to leave a legacy. And it's not about the money. If you're driven by the money, you're actually always going to have trouble finding it. But if instead you're driven by leaving a legacy, making a difference, raising your game to be the best you can be, focusing on the clients to provide them with the best service possible, you're going to succeed. And, of course, the money indirectly will come. But having that why just allows me to work really hard, where I'm always thinking, how can I improve the model? How can I improve my client's life? And it's just, we have one life to live, and then you want to live it so great that you don't fear death. And that's what I'm doing. And I recently had a cancer scare just 2.5 weeks ago. We might talk about that later, but it kind of helped me realize that the good news is I am living the life I want to live, and I'm comfortable, and I could die any moment because I've left that legacy. And, of course, I want to leave more, but it's just a nice feeling to kind of know you're on the right path. So for those who are listening who their careers aren't going where they want to go, I would just kind of double down on yourself, believe in yourself, believe in your business model, and take some concrete steps. For me, hiring an assistant and some bold ad campaigns are some examples of ways I improve my business, and happy to get down to kind of details later on. But having that why is going to drive you to the top. And I think for everybody, just an awareness of how short life can be and what a motivator, that's not depressing, that's motivating, and it just takes you to that next level. And with that why mindset, everyone on this call is going to do really well once you kind of get to that point of just being free and living the life you want. So that's it for now.
Right. So you've unpacked a lot of wisdom, my friend. So already I've put a few quotes in the chat. The first one you said that I've heard you say this every time you speak, and it's just so powerful. But it's so hard to do. But the less you care about what people think, the more others will be around you and be attracted to you. I think we all know it, but are we executing the way we can, the way we should? So we're getting lots of questions. Feel free, everybody, put in questions. I will get to some of these questions. One thing I want to hit on before we kind of unpack your model, and I do want to make sure we unpack your model and what you're doing, but, firing your C clients. I mean, that is something that all the top trainers and coaches, we teach it. I think intellectually, people know that, you gotta either fire your C clients or you need to figure out how not to let them suck your energy and time. If you could just share, like when you went, I got my A clients, my B clients, how many C clients did you fire? And talk about how you did that and how you got there. Because if everybody could just come from this call with focusing more on first of all, just being intentional around who's an A, B, and a C, and then actually getting those C's out of their life, I think that would be a big gift. So what do you have to share when it comes to that?
Perfect. So, Dave, I had at that time about 35 clients, but I was surprised that going down the list, 20 of them were C clients. And the reason there were so many C clients is because these are the guys who aren't buying. They're just kind of lingering around, taking your time up, asking the questions where they really, in their mind, will probably never buy, but still very time-consuming and frustrating. So surprisingly, the C clients were a majority of my business. Definitely a minority of my sales, but majority of my business. And that's really when I just wasn't able, and there's always that leap of faith. And the hard part about saying no is it's so clear the opportunity you're giving up. This could lead to a sale at some 6, 12 months down the road. But by saying no, you have to have the faith that you're saying yes to 2 great clients who, once you have that time, are going to come to you, and you're shutting one door but opening 2. So I think if you can have that confidence and courage, you're going to do well. But I had, because of the cancer, I had the confidence to fire over half my client base. And again, some would say you're giving up sales.
Wow.
Like, not really. I'm just giving up wasting my time. And maybe there were 5 sales in that 20, but it's so much effort. And I just had my 15 great clients, and I was just focused on them. And I got those 15-plus sales, all over $2 million, in a relatively short period because I was focused. I was there for them. And the thing that I think sometimes people don't, I loved what you said, Dave, about being purposeful. Every time you have a client, also think of, this is not just a client. This is my future referral base. Like attracts like. If you have a client who's an asshole, he's going to refer you other assholes, and start part of my language. And if you have a superstar, great, who just loves who you are, appreciates everything, then they hang out with other really positive, appreciative people. So that's the great part. You're not only, in the end, going to get more sales by referring your C-level clients, you're going to get cooler clients because those A-level clients have very focused, positive, motivated friends as well, and that's the key. So really construct who you want to focus upon. Who's your target audience, and create your whole business model around that. And that really helped me out a lot. And it's interesting, too. I just like what you said, live a purposeful life. So my view is that time is so precious. Be very selective. I'm generous with everything. People want to borrow money or just my car. I'm very generous with everything but my time. With my time, I'm very selective about, because I think you choose who you have enter into your life. And as another point, that my attacker, that guy who did those terrible things to me, people ask me all the time, what do you think of your attacker? I'm like, I don't think about him at all. Because my viewpoint is you select who enters your life. And when someone shatters through your life who shouldn't belong there, don't waste your time saying, why me, how did this happen? Just focus on kicking them out of your life as quickly as possible. And I kicked them out by just saying, psychologically, I'm going to be stronger, physically as strong as the accident. And I made that come true. So there's no need for me to dwell upon the accident because I've learned from it, I've gained from it, and then the guy's gone. And then the same mindset with your clients. You're picking and choosing your clients, who you want to work with, because that's your future referral base as well.
So much wisdom in that, my friend. When you hear people, either they gossip about something that's bad or someone that bad things, I mean, for you to have the power to completely eliminate your attacker from your mind, and I know you've done it because I've met you personally, I've heard your story, and to have your attitude, there is no room for negative people in your life. So
no.
Another tremendous takeaway, my friend. So let's unpack your model. I'm on your website right now. You don't need to follow your website. I'll try to follow along with what you're doing. But I've heard you say it over and over. I've changed the model. I've innovated the model. You obviously have a very thoughtful process in the way that you approach the business. If you could unpack that for 5 minutes for everybody, and then let's just ask some questions that really drill down into the, I think we've nailed. Well, we could talk forever. Your why. I want to talk about the disciplines of your how, and what are you consistently doing that drives your success.
Perfect. So for all the audience members out there, I would say if you can really motivate yourself, whatever motivates yourself the most is what you want to tap into, because that's going to allow you to unleash your greatest passions and potential. And then for me, it wasn't just with all the life tragedies, not that driven by money, but am driven by the sense of I left a legacy, I made the world a little bit different and better. And I always thought of how can I improve the model? And people in real estate, I think one of the mindsets of most people is this is how the model's been, how it's been done for the last 50 plus years, and therefore that's how it should be. Instead, I had the mindset of how should it be? If we were starting from scratch, how should it be done? And I think if you look at other very high-end professions, medicine, law, that model is very different than real estate, because when I was at my law firm, the way it generally worked is you had really talented people who were on salary and specialized on a little niche area that they were most expert upon. Pretty much all I did was patent and trademark law in Silicon Valley. I knew that niche market and that niche law really well. But in real estate, you have individuals. There's no real companies in real estate, but you have these individual agents. You have big companies, a Coldwell Banker, Keller Williams, but really they're just individual agents in silos. And everyone's doing their own thing, and they're diluting their expertise because most people will chase the deal. They might cover 5 or 10 cities on the buy side and kind of run around and not really know that area too well, versus the professions that I really held in high esteem. That model was specialist. So we've done a lot of revolutions, a little bit more on the buy side than on the listing side, but I'll get to both. But on the buy side, all my agents are salaried specialists. So each word is revolutionary. So as you know, in real estate, the vast, vast majority of everybody is on commission. And I think sometimes when we're working with buyers have the concern, hey, are you just motivated by the deal? You just want to close the deal and get it done. But by our agents being on salary, totally on salary, and I pay people well, usually kind of low six figures at Silicon Valley. Most of my buyer's agents are attorneys, really smart people. So you want to pay people well so they stick around and you can train them well. But I have really smart people on salary, and the benefit of that is the buyer doesn't worry about, are you just looking for the quick deal? Because how I judge, and we don't correlate anything. When they have a sale, they don't get any bonuses. It truly is purely salary. You know, I'm aware of things, and when the annual review comes up, I have an awareness of what they did. But the true focus is, how happy was the client? Did the client feel they got a good value and great service? And if so, then I want to reward my agents. But putting everyone on salary, I think, is beneficial. And also for me, on my end, I have 45 employees. Everyone's an employee at my firm. It allows me to go big on the marketing side because I can spend, $2 million a year in marketing, and it's fine. We have a lot of money coming in and a lot of money coming out, but big, very profitable in the end. But I can spend all that money on marketing because instead of having an agent who's on a split and I'm only getting some fractional amount, I get everything. So the salary is great for the clients because they don't worry about closure, but it's also great for me as well because I get all the reward. But the specialist is also key, where I think people dilute their expertise by trying to do too much, selling in too many markets. And instead, for our area, we have people who just focus on a small area. For example, in Palo Alto, we have 2 agents. Palo Alto is not a large town. It's a town of about 58,000 people. But we have 2 agents where buyer's agents, and these agents, our buyer's agents, don't sell. All they do solely is focus on buying. And they specialize on their small little areas. Where in Palo Alto, there's not many homes in the market. So for these agents, maybe there's like 15 homes in each of their territories. But they're going to know those 15 homes amazingly well. We write detailed notes on each of those homes. We know everything there is to know about that city, all the trends driving that marketplace, if you want to build, how much you can build, what trees you can cut down, but a level of expertise that you don't see elsewhere. So all our agents are salaried specialists instead of being on commission. I'm also working on a few other evolutions I'll get to in a little bit. But one of the things, too, I thought about why I've succeeded, for everyone on the call, try to think about who your clients are and what are their problems. And for those who are on mortgage, you have 2 clients. You not only have the client who's getting the mortgage, but also the agent himself who's giving you that repeat referral business. But what are your clients' problems, and then solve them. And if you can solve your clients' problems, they're not ever going to consider going anywhere else. So some of the things we have provide as well are some great kind of lost leaders, where we provide these services just as a courtesy to our clients without the goal of making money. One of our best services is a construction consultant. For our clients in Silicon Valley, the best deals are the fixer-uppers because everyone's so busy they don't have time to deal with a fixer-upper. But I found my clients were avoiding fixer-uppers because they look at it and they don't know how much is it going to cost, who do I call, and how long is it going to take. But our construction consultant comes in at no cost, brings in the team of contractors, gets them bids so they can make, before offers are due, gets bids so they know what they're doing. We bring in the team. We negotiate the bid as low as possible. We vet the contractors, and we kind of help them. If problems come up, we help them out. And this has been a huge value add to my clients because if you have successful clients, they're going to value, there's 2 important commodities in life, time and money. The really successful people will value their time more than money. But if you can save them both, they love you. So we have a construction consultant on staff who helps them out. We also have a concierge who helps them arrange their moving, switching utilities. I'm working on getting them good deals at restaurants with gift cards. So really providing full service. We have a real estate attorney on staff. Any legal issues come up that are minor, we can take care of them at no cost to our clients. But actively thinking of what my clients' problems are and then solving them. So those are some of the things we're doing on the buy side. We could get more detailed, but I don't want to bore people. But it's really tailored to our market. On the listing side, what we saw is there's a fundamental flaw in the model, which is there's no, as I mentioned earlier, no true corporations. It's more just good individual agents, but they're all in silos. They're not collaborating. They're not synergizing together at all. So I have about 20-plus people who are on the listing side, 4 interior designers, 4 contractors. They help prepare and get our homes ready for market. But by having this many people, we can embrace a lot of synergy, and we have true corporate resources. We can dedicate a lot, so we can kind of raise the bar. And also by bringing a lot of things in staff, graphic designer, marketing department. If you bring this all in-house, we can get more economies of scale, savings than others can. So we can raise the bar, but keep our costs low, and we can just kind of provide a lot more, almost kind of a corporate, get these great values on all these discounts on newspapers and magazines just because of the volume we do. So we're really trying to kind of act more as a large corporation. But on the listing side, we're just doing what other people are doing. We're doing it better. On the buy side, we're trying to fundamentally re-alter it, so no more commission, you're all on salary, specialize. And I'm even working on things where you can kind of align incentives from a compensation model. But that's another revolution I'm working on.
Every time I interview, every time I hear you, I take lots of notes, just kind of unpacking what I take from when I hear Ken. First of all, he has strategies. He's very thoughtful about his business. He has a strategy. Lots of people call them ideas. Oh, I've got an idea. But one thing that's common with Ken, every time he has a strategy, and then he goes really big. Some agents would do things incrementally. Ken goes big. And you've done that your entire career. You invest. When I think of, how much and I want you to tell everybody, how much money do you invest in a listing? Just 1 minute before you do that. But he invests in his strategies and ideas, and he does it. And then I look at everything you do at a level of excellence. I mean, folks, look at his website. This website is fantastic. It breaks down your strategy, the markets that you serve, really clear what you do for buyers, really clear what you do for sellers. As you drill down into this, to say you do it right is just an understatement. And so, you look at that model of strategy, go big, invest, and then do it right. It's amazing. So how much do you invest in a listing, at least whatever you're willing to share with us, just so people can get a feel for how much more you invest versus the typical agent?
Perfect. And I'm always willing to share with everybody. My mindset is the more you give, the more you kind of free your mind to think new thoughts. One of the flaws of real estate is people trying to hoard their knowledge. And I think when you hoard your knowledge, you kind of limit yourself on growth and just help people grow to their greatest potential, and then they're going to help you grow. So I believe in the kind of positive synergies of life. And really quick, Dave, before I get down to the actual number of what I invest, big picture, people have always kind of said, Ken, you spend too much on marketing. Because, I'll spend, say 20, 25% of my revenue on marketing. We're talking, multi-millions now at this point. But the key is, on my marketing, whatever numbers, say you're supposed to spend 10 or 15%, it always, in 2 years from now, where I would always have this huge amount of growth, then the numbers always made sense. But the key was, I'm marketing kind of like Wayne Gretzky. You skate to where the puck is going, not where it is. So I had a vision of what I wanted my business to become. And you have to spend money to make money. You have to kind of get the word out there. But I'd always spend for my anticipated sales volume in 2 years from now. And I would say that to everyone there. Take the leap of faith, invest in your business, and it will come. So as regards to individual homes, we'll typically spend on a home, this is in the first 10 days. On our typical listing, we'll spend about $15,000 to $20,000. Some of our higher-end listings will spend $50,000 in the first 2 or 3 weeks. I realize these numbers sound large, but our business model in 6 words on the listing side is blow in, blow up, blow out, in the sense of our median days on market for our listings is 9 days. And, we command a premium in the marketplace. A lot of people are, at 5%, we're at 5.5 or 6, but we are, on our side, we're always getting 3%. We're the luxury player. We're commanding the premium. Know your value, never discount your value. And actually, I enjoy on listing presentations explaining why we're more expensive. Simply, we're better. But I give them all the tangible examples. But as I mentioned earlier, we turned down about a third of the listings we could have because our model is this. We'll invest heavily in your home where you'll see it everywhere, the best marketing in Silicon Valley by far. But along with that, we expect that you'll price your home attractively and it'll sell quickly. And coming from law, my mindset for compensation was $1 per hour. So some people are shocked, like, I can't believe you're spending $15,000 to $20,000 in the first week to get homes on the market. But typically our price point last year was just under $3 million. So our end, say we're getting 3%. And occasionally you'll get both sides of the deal, but usually we're just getting one. So we're getting $90,000 in that 9 days the home's on the market. We could sell it earlier. We strategically wait 9 days to get the most amount of bids. But if I'm getting $90,000 in 9 days and my costs are $15,000 to $20,000, the firm made $70,000 to $75,000 in 9 days, and we're just doing that, 100 times, or actually I think last year 125 times. So I don't focus on how much am I spending in absolute terms. I focus on how much I'm making dollar per hour, and the goal in life is to elevate your dollar per hour as much as you can. And then one thing I'd recommend to people on the website, I'm a big believer in videos. So one of the things I do for my clients to save time is my marketing, I actually spend a lot of money on video production, but for all the major cities I cover, I'll have like 10 to 20 videos of the neighborhoods, and I'll give 2 to 3 minutes, and I'll talk about the characteristics of the neighborhood, the parks, the schools, but also my thoughts on appreciation. Is this a below average appreciation and above average appreciation? What are the driving trends? But through having all that, so if you could have instructional videos, it saves me so much time because clients don't have to ask me directly. I can just send them these links, and it's just a little bit of updating. So there's a fixed cost to creating this content. But once it's there, it's yours forever, and you just kind of tweak it and update it over time, but you don't really have to worry about it. So that's one thing that, last year we did, about $300 million on the buy side, and, staggering numbers because most of the top agents are all listing agents, but we're 50-50, even a little more on the buy side. And the way we can do that volume is we have both written materials, very detailed neighborhood guides, and also videos. And I'm constantly making new videos so that way clients can really get everything they need from you without having to call you. So if I were in the mortgage industry, what are your 15 FAQ that you always get? What are closing costs in my city? What are, do I need, how many appraisals do I need for this price point? Whatever questions you get, what's your competitive advantage? Why should I choose you over others? I would just create a video. And that way, of course, you answer the question, but you go deeper in that video, and it just will save you so much time.
So tons of more takeaways. I put some of these in the chat. Make note, everybody, Ken is passing on 30% of his listings. So that concept of, firing his C clients, he just keeps that going every single month. He is investing the majority of his marketing budget in the first 10 days. So I love that quote, blow in, blow up, and blow out. Brilliant. And obviously you're, to the point I made earlier, you're executing on that. I want to remind all mortgage coaches on this call that, you guys all have the ability to add a video every time you present rates and options to a family. You should be doing that with mobile. You should be doing that on Mortgage Coach. And then you should be updating it, adding a video narration. So, Ken, you may not know this, but with it's been about a month now, we updated literally a mortgage professional can deliver the rates and the charts, and then the same message that they're netting out for the family, they can just pick up their mobile phone and they can add a mobile video to it. So nice. The family is getting a narration of their financial options. They're getting comparisons and graphs and charts, and the loan officer can add a video. So mortgage professionals, you just heard it from the nation's best. He likes video. He's recommending video. Make sure you're giving that to every family. It's now. The best of the best.
Right. The future is present.
You're right. It's becoming ubiquitous. So make sure that you're implementing and executing that. So Ken, we've got loan officers in the room right now with their realtors. You've unpacked some value on just being, call it the optimized life. That's a term that you've coined. You've shared some great strategies for realtors. Let's talk about the realtor loan officer partnership and how mortgage coaches. We've got guys and gals on this call right now that are working really hard to deliver value to families, and part of how they do that with a mortgage coach is just better mortgage options, adding a video to it, delivering it in a mobile experience. What's your perspective on what you want from a loan officer, and what advice do you have to the mortgage coaches on the call right now?
Perfect. And probably even big picture might be probably what would be pertinent to everyone. How do you get the top agent or rising star agent to want to work with you? So one thing I think that with my marketing, I was very distinct and tried to separate myself from other agents, like why would consumers want to use me? And I would say if mortgage lenders or mortgage coaches could recommend to their clientele, try to think about, before you approach a realtor, kind of almost have that same mindset of, why me? What's the value add? And I think if you try to kind of say, like if I said I sell everything, then why necessarily me? But I would really try to two things. One is, before you target somebody, say this is a real big player in your marketplace, as I mentioned earlier, try to think of what are the client's problems and try and solve them. So I would try and think about, what are this agent's problems, and then what unique perspective or value add do I have that could save him? And then someone, say in Silicon Valley, approached me and be like, Ken, I know that you're competing against a lot of Chinese investors who are all cash, closing in a week, but now with our new system, we can close loans in 15 to 18 days, and that really is going to help be a competitive advantage for your clients going forward, because that you're getting closer to the cash close line. So something like that, or but I would say for those individuals out there, try to think about, don't just say use me for everything. I would actually just start, particularly if it's a repeat player like a top agent, I would try to think about, within your quiver of weapons you have, which loan program or programs do you think is the most competitive value, that like your bank offers, that this is the best. For example, like, oh no, we actually, these are just hypotheticals, but we have a new loan program where, you only need to put 10% down up to $1 million. Or we have a new loan program, our 5-year is the best around. Our 30 years maybe not the best, but if you have a client looking for a 5-year, we're the bank you want to work with. But try to save me the time of having to research you and think about what's the best program that you offer. I would try to think about either A, solving one of my problems when you approach me, or B, coming forward and just saying, this one program that we have is by far the best in our region, and you should use this for ideally all clients, but at least for clients who are looking for this. So that would intrigue me just versus the general, hey, let's go out for coffee and talk. Kind of provide the value, give me the carrot first, why I would want to go forward. And then in regards to a partnership, it truly is a partnership. You want to have a phenomenal lender by your side. And I'll have clients who come before I meet them, and they're like, hey, I got pre-approved by Quicken Loans, or I got pre-approved by this person who's out of area, that I've never heard of. I really try and tell my clients that when we're presenting offers in this competitive marketplace where 5 to 15 offers are the norm, that my reputation is golden with the local agents, but so too do we need a strong lender. And we really need a strong blue chip lender. And my lender here, Frank at Wells Fargo, Andre at Citi, these are some of the guys I use, but they're phenomenally well respected and well regarded. All the agents know they close on time, and et cetera, et cetera. But I'll actively try to have my clients switch to lenders that I'm very comfortable with. I mean, if it's a good lender that, I'll work with a lot of people, but if it's some sort of Quicken or just something I'm concerned about, I'll do my best, because really it is a partnership. By having that strong team member, they're making my job and life a lot easier, and they're making me look like a professional. Because if I have a lender who I haven't vetted and then we're a week late, even though indirectly it's not my fault, I really view it as my fault, because I'm part of, if we don't close on time, in the end, I'm not going to point fingers, it's my fault. So I think that what I tell my clients is what an important partnership this is. What would I be looking for in a lender? Somebody who, we're all super busy, so I just need somebody, it's nice to be updated. Text and email are actually great. Phone calls just to say that appraisal came in at value, that's probably best. Text or email, so you can kind of, it's great to get the update, but kind of at your convenience. But what I like is that my great lenders, when I say it's going to close in 17 days, I just don't worry about it. I just know it's done. So they're keeping me updated on status, but trust and consistency are key. And with my key lending partners, I have that. So I think that's, if you have a top agent you're working with and you give a deadline or a goal, please make sure you make that happen, because it's a realtor's reputation as well if you don't perform. So that's, to me, amazingly valuable is reputation. And then other things I would ask for would be just kind of, if you could proactively kind of prep the client as well. I love what you're saying, Dave, about videos, because I'll have a lot of my clients where they're not being well informed by their lender, as if they work with a lender I didn't recommend, and I kind of have to go through with them about kind of all kind of more or less be their lender in the sense of advise them, for your goals, I think the 7-year, not the 30 is best because you're going to make partner at the law firm, you're going to double your salary, so I think you can take the risk. Or, here's your typical closing costs, what you'll expect. But if I could have the lender, ideally through video, so the lenders, my great lender partners, their time's not wasted, or articles they've written, but if they can explain all those concepts and save me from having to kind of do that second, that as well as kind of explain all the real estate, that is very valuable. And if I were a lender, how would I differentiate myself? I might get bold. I mean, part of on the listing side, where I spent more money than other agents. I kind of bought my way into the listing side, and now I just raised my commission so that I'm making more profit than others are. But like the key is, don't be afraid to kind of be aggressive to get in the marketplace, and then once you're in there, then you can do everything you want. But if I were a lender, I might say something like, I'm going to close in 20 days, presuming that you put down the client has to give me these documents. And if I don't close on those 20 days, I'll affirmatively let you know I'm going to pay twice the seller's carrying cost. And then the agent can go and then presentation say, my lender's so confident we're going to close in 20 days. And the amazingly rare event we don't. The lender's already volunteered to pay twice your closing costs because he knows he's closing on time. And the great lenders on this call here, they're probably closing on time 95% plus of the time, presuming the client you have in there, the client has to respond and give you the documents on these timely manner. But on that 5%, say you have 2 or 3 days that you have to pay 2x. It's so worth it because it got you in the door, and that lender to me is showing confidence in their ability. And that's just a one-off idea, so I'm not sure if people want to follow that or not. But just an example, like how can you convey how strong you are as a lender and that you're a strategic partner to your realtor? Because once my lenders, like I've given them hundreds of millions of deals because they're just really good, and I really appreciate all that they do. Oh, and then one thing on rate, people get like the client focuses too much on rate, like an eighth of a difference, and I try and tell them it's about service. But what I do ask my lenders is just be in the game because it hurts everybody. It hurts the realtor if you're like 3As higher, which I don't think happens too much in this marketplace. But if the client feels the need, like I tell my clients, usually I give them 2. These are my 2 best lenders that I recommend you talk to, and then you can decide who you want. But once they decide, I really encourage my clients to stay with that lender. But what I don't, it's just if they shop around and get a much better rate somewhere else, it makes me look bad. Like I was almost, I want to pick lenders who I need everyone to make a healthy profit, but just be in the game so that, everything's defensible because it's bad for everyone if the lender gets switched.
Yeah, no doubt. So, guys, let's net out a few things, and I'm going to try to bring one question from the audience. You heard it from Ken, how valuable it is to use video. You heard how he likes to be communicated with as efficiently as possible. So as a mortgage coach, you can update that video, not only when you're delivering options, but literally you could update the video and then just let Ken know or let your realtor know that video has been updated, and they can net it out. So, if you're a mortgage coach, make sure you're adding a video video memo to all of your mortgage experiences, and that video can now be updated. So if you don't know how to do that, come to our Thursday call, and we'll drill down on that. Make sure that you're driving that total cost experience with each and every family, so you're taking the focus off of rate and fee, and you're putting it on the clients. What are their goals? Is their goal to move up into a bigger home within 3 to 5 years? Is their goal to pay it off faster? Whatever the client's goal is, that's what you need to deliver. And you heard it from Ken, the 2 approaches as a lender that he likes most is either coming in and learning his problems, showing how you're going to uniquely solve that in a tailored way, or if you are going to just come in based off of your products and programs and with a very specific niche offering. So Ken, last question, and then we'll wrap it up. A lot of loan officers, I see them approaching agents, and they're sending out emails, these HTML emails, and personally, I look at most of that, and it's just noise. It's what the loan officer wants to tell you. It's what the industry wants to tell you. It's not personalized. It's not insightful. Do you agree that 90% of what lenders, they think they're busy and they're marketers, but it's just noise to you? Or first of all, do you validate that? And then if you could just tell us one thing that might not be noise that we could market to you.
Perfect. Yes. No, I agree, David. And it's even worse than noise because it kind of like takes up your time. You have to like, oh, that's just a boring, generic email that was sent out to hundreds of people. And especially when you're kind of like, I worked very hard to kind of get to this level of volume. And if someone's like, I'm not going to have just, obviously at this point I have some great relationships with my partner lenders. So I'm not just going to some random email kind of click on that. So noise and almost maybe even the slightest like, oh, that's not very smart. That's not very well thought out. So almost even a slight negativity towards the concept that somebody would send such a generic email to, that I'm just one of hundreds. And, why would I want to work with somebody who gave no forethought to kind of being part of the team? So, and then the opposite of that would be and again, this wouldn't be for, you don't waste your time with everybody, but pick your top 25 or 50 real estate agents in the marketplace. And I would say to those on the call, it's really less about the individual getting the loan, because that's the one time, maybe a couple of referrals, but really focus on getting into like the top 10 agents. And literally I've just funneled hundreds of millions just in the last 2 years to my great lender partners. So work with the top agents because they can just blow you up with business. But what I would say is someone actually the antithesis of that would be a very tailored email. And what I've been surprised about is how much the clients focus on rate. I go, rate's nothing. It's all about service. But also what's surprising is the variability in the underwriting criteria, where how some lenders, say you're trading up, most lenders will look at the debt ratios for both homes, but a few niche lenders will say, hey, if you're trading up, we won't look at the debt ratios for your existing home, or we'll give it just 6 months of carrying cost. On retirement account, does your lender give, how much for reserves they give the retirement account varies. In Silicon Valley, stock options, are the options counted as income or not? It varies a lot. But if they could write me a tailored email, just an example, Silicon Valley example, Ken, I know your clients have a lot of stock options. A lot of lenders won't give full credit to that or are conservative in how they view it. But our underwriting criteria, we give full, as long as they have 2 years pattern on these stock options, we give full credit to that in their salary, and they can qualify for more, or something like that. But they've actually, in that tailored email, really kind of think about what unique products you have, and it might just be not be rate at all, but just underwriting criteria. Your underwriting criteria is more favorable than others. So let me know that. Let me know your value add, where you've given thought to both your basket of products and then within that basket of products, you studied me and have picked the product that's the best fit for me. And if somebody does that, that's the person I want to have coffee with or talk further with, because they've given time thinking out both sides of the business model, their competitive advantage, and what I would most value. And don't give me that generic HTML, which is a waste of everyone's time. As you're saying, Dave, it's even worse than noise, but instead that tailored approach, and then I'm yours.
So if a mortgage coach, picked a property that you had listed, had added, some products that they think would sell it, they had created a 1 to 2 minute video just netting out what would be unique about, how they can help you, that would be valuable. You would see that as something as a valuable reach out.
Definitely. That they give a thought
kind of
and they can, yeah, exactly. And they're helping me by helping me sell the home completely. And then they're explaining it through the video.
So absolutely. So mortgage professionals, stop, in the spirit of everything Ken is saying, there's, spend your time on targeting the best of the best. So first of all, if you're reaching out to someone who's uncool and not that successful, maybe not the best use of your time, reach out to people that you're in essence match with, people that are super successful, and then go deep. Take the time as a mortgage coach, look for a property that's been on the market. They're in a little bit of pain. Tailor something for them. Take a couple minutes in the video, and now you're sending something of value. So, hey, Ken, I am grateful for you taking the time to share with the mortgage coach community. I know how valuable your time is, and everybody on this call is grateful for you taking the time to share, my friend.
Oh, my pleasure, Dave. And I do have to actually want to compliment you. You're just like myself, bringing innovation, and I think the tips you're putting forward, videos, adding value to the agents, tailoring your message to the right people is invaluable. And these are things that I had to kind of stumble through and figure out over 13 years. And if I could be on this call when I was a brand new, mortgage or just kind of the real estate, it would have helped me out a lot. So kudos to you as well.
Well, thank you very much. I look forward to interviewing again someday and seeing you at an event. And congratulations on all your success, my friend.
Excellent. Thank you. Best wishes to the audience as well, and make it a great day. Appreciate it.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Excellent.
Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.